Man, it's all gone to shit, hasn't it? Nothing fires up the outrage machine like the most petty inconveniences ever, and console reveals are full of them. So, Nintendo recently revealed the Switch 2, and the discourse ever since has been a literal nightmare of misinformation, assumptions, and some good criticisms actually. We can't forget those. YouTube's very own slop factories are, of course, jumping to the opportunity to get some fresh clicks in from the latest and greatest, already beaten to death talking points. And yes, I am self-aware enough to know that this is exactly what I'm doing too. Calm down. We have the usual suspects, like Moist Critical and his ilk, who's basically just reacting to everything but their own reaction videos at this point. New YouTubers that are throwing their hat in the content stop game because everyone else is doing it, so give me some of those outrage clicks as well. Again, hi. And gaming YouTubers that don't normally talk about Nintendo all that much. Strangely enough, most of the toxicity seems to be coming from those last ones. There's just something strange about channels like Legendary Drops, which barely mentions Nintendo at all, going on a full frontal assault against the company because they had the audacity to charge $80 for a new Mario Kart game, as if this is somehow going to ruin the entire games industry. It just doesn't make any sense. To be clear, I'm making this rant to combat the spread of misinformation and to highlight the act of misinformation being spread by nefarious actors, seemingly on purpose. The recent developments are worrisome, to say the least. I'm not here to defend Nintendo as a company, even though I'm sure the comments section will have one or two enlightened individuals accusing me of glazing a multi-billion-dollar company, or that is, if anyone's even going to watch this. I am uploading it to a channel with 5 whole subscribers after all. No, I'd rather defend the people who buy their products, because, oh boy, if you openly go out and say that you do, there's no end to the name-calling you'll be subjected to. Nintendo shill, fanboy, disillusioned moron, the reason the games industry is failing. People are literally inventing new sentences in order to cuss out people who think Nintendo makes cool stuff, and it's the most childish thing I have ever witnessed. And the worst part about all of this is that this outrage is mostly based on misconceptions or misinformation being relayed to big audiences by morons who can't bother to make a quick Google search before hitting record and opening their mouths. People who goes off of misleading headlines and trusts secondhand information without looking up the original sources themselves. And it drives me fucking mad. Make no mistake, Nintendo could easily have been clearer with their infographics and have conveyed their information better. But also, there is a lot of information that they need to put out there, and they can't just release it all at once. But hey, who has time to wait for clarification, right? I mean, the outrage might die down and my video won't get as many views. Yeah. The reason I'm playing Legendary Drops' video, Nintendo actually did it, ... Wow, real great title there, mate. In the background here is because it exemplifies pretty much everything I'm getting at. There's some good criticism, for sure, but there's just so much that's wrong here. I think the one tell that this is a video made to capitalize on the current climate is the double standard on display. For context, in his video titled "So Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to tank the industry," which was released just 6 days earlier, at the 11:50 mark, he says, when talking about how Rockstar will be releasing GTA 6 on consoles first.
You know, I talk about how I don't want these companies to be greedy, but if you're going to be greedy, you have to earn it. Rockstar's earned it. That's how this works.
The reason they've earned it, according to LD, is because GTA 5 is the second best-selling game of all time. And, you know, yeah, I agree. Rockstar has proved themselves capable of crafting genuinely great experiences, so why not let them try to double dip? Or hell, I'd even support a $100 price tag, and I don't even like the GTA series. That's how much I respect the effort they've gone through with these games. Then, back to the first video again, he says at the 10:41 mark,
I don't like that Nintendo, a company that fails to innovate, that repackages the same games over and over again, that profits more than anyone else, is now trying to justify a $80 price tag for digital games. This isn't about inflation. This isn't about value. It's about greed, plain and simple. Calculated, deliberate, opportunistic greed.
There are things that are objectively and hilariously wrong with this statement, like Nintendo failing to innovate, for example. Like, seriously? Are you actually trying to claim that the company who introduced dual screen and touchscreen gaming with the DS, pioneered analog video game controllers with the N64 and GameCube, and paved the way for the handheld gaming market with the Switch are failing to innovate? The same company that through presumably black magic implemented the Ultra Hand feature in Tears of the Kingdom? This is beyond the realms of a simple opinion. This is just demonstrably not true. Even the most hardcore Nintendo hater couldn't say that with a straight face, but okay dude, sure. Go out and make a tweet about how people that disagrees with your takes are just grifters trying to ride your coattails. And I mean, sure, it happens, but you can't cry about it when you're getting backlash from making bad faith arguments like these. And it kinda sucks too, because we need people in this space who are not afraid to speak their minds, now more than ever. But not like this man, not by being disingenuous on purpose. Especially not when media literacy is apparently at an all-time low. Anyways, the thing I wanted to highlight is the difference in how the Rockstar and Nintendo dilemma is presented. One has deserved it, the other is just a greedy, calculating, and evil company. As if GTA Online didn't prove the exact opposite with its predatory microtransaction system. Do you not see the two-facedness at display here? But what if we could somehow justify it by using the same metrics LD use? How about the rest of the top 5 selling games of all time? Oh, look at that, it's Wii Sports at number 3. Now, granted, the distance between second and third place is absolutely massive, and the game was a pack-in title for the Wii, which sold gangbusters, so it's not really a fitting comparison. If only we could find a more direct comparison, like just a standalone game, or... No way! Coming in at number 5 on the list of most sold games ever, we have Mario Kart 8, with 75.81 million copies sold in a comparable time frame. And sure, it's still a far cry from the massive 210 million seller GTA 5, but unlike GTA, which was sold for a whopping 7 platforms, most copies of Mario Kart 8 was only sold across one console, with 8.1 million of the total sold on the Wii U. And that was basically how much the Wii U itself sold. So my point is that it's such overwhelmingly blatant hypocrisy to say that one company deserves to plan for people to double dip their game because they deserve it for the quality of it, while trashing another for daring to charge $10 more than the current standard when both companies make critically acclaimed games that sells millions of copies. In fact, looking at the top-selling games list, Nintendo's internal studios are mentioned far more often than any one of the other companies. Make this shitty argument make sense. Please. That should honestly be more than enough to not take this guy seriously, but oh, there's more. In the ultimate cope for why Nintendo games will probably still sell at 80, LD says,
Nintendo is one of the only companies that can afford to do this. They have been training their customers to be good little soldiers for years now. Go and look at their store. They have a content-starved audience that has missed out on some of the biggest third-party releases, and the vast majority of their first-party titles, Mario, Zelda, Pokemon, Smash Ultimate, never drop in price because they don't have to. They have conditioned their fan base to just accept it.
Holy fucking shit. What a brain-dead take. I'm sorry, but this is just too much. I did not realize how bad the arguments in this video actually were when I started writing this. I'm so sorry for subjecting people to this. Oh my god. Okay, so the very notion that Nintendo games sell well because their fans have been fucking conditioned to accept their price is ridiculous on a whole new level. I mean, it can't possibly because their games are good and people think that they're worth it. Get it? No, they're brainwashed zombies without a mind of their own that are being taken advantage of by the big greedy corporation. They're literally being forced into buying these games. Don't you see? This is so goddamn ridiculous. Also, just assuming that most Switch owners doesn't own a second console is beyond baffling when you're one Google search away from finding out that GamesIndustry.biz published an article in 2020 that stated that 60% of Switch owners owned a PS4 and 41% owned an Xbox One. And while these numbers are old, the rate of ownership is probably still comparable even with the newer generations. But that's just speculation on my part, which is not something you'll ever hear Legendary Drops admit to, I guess. Because there are tons of speculation being pawned off as facts in this video and many others. The $90 price for physical games, the $80 price for games being the new standard, the key cards replacing on-storage games, being forced to buy the game a second time for full price if you want the Switch 2 enhancement upgrades, assuming that you need to buy the dock and charger separately for some reason, dismissing the Switch 2 Welcome Tour as just a paid instruction booklet. Okay, this one I kinda get. They do include minigames and stuff in this game, and it's only $10, but this is a weird as hell move. The C button pausing the game if you don't have an active Nintendo Online subscription, all of this is easily figured out by just a quick web search. No, the price for physical games isn't going to be $90. This was misconstrued from the European prices, which actually do have a difference in digital and physical prices. Also, there's a fucking euro sign next to the number. No, $80 is not going to be the new standard price for Nintendo games. The new standard is $70, just like how it used to be $60 with an extra $10 on top for their big games. Assuming this based on one $80 game is really dumb. The keycards will not be replacing on-storage games. They're an alternative to just including a game key in a box that you redeem online, and even better, unlike download codes, the keycards can be resold. The Switch 2 upgrade packs are $10 to $20, and a lot of them also include new content in addition to an increase in graphical fidelity, and you don't even have to buy them if you just want to play Switch 1 games on the Switch 2, since it's backwards compatible through a custom translation layer, which is why these upgrade patches need to be there to begin with in order for the games to leverage the increase in processing power. Speaking of processing power, the belief that the Switch 2 should retail at the same price the first Switch released at is kind of an odd stance to take. It's not inherent that a successor should cost the same as the previous thing. LD even accounts for the market mechanics that would make the Switch 2 cost more, citing chip shortages, which isn't really a thing anymore. Competition from PC handhelds, which, yeah, there's no competition there really. And of course, pure greed.
How did nobody see this? But even then, I don't even think the increase in price is due to material costs. I think it's motivated by greed and profits that they failed to capture.
No one saw this coming because you literally just made it up, dude. What most people fail to realize is that despite the big fat 2 in the logo, they're not making the Switch again. They're making a brand new console, and they're obviously investing a lot of money into it. At this point, it's the only console from the big three that has dedicated AI hardware in the form of tensor cores, and the PS5 Pro is the only other console that has dedicated RT hardware like the Switch 2 does, as far as I know. Yeah, it's greed that's going to run Star Wars Outlaws on a 10-watt system draw, not powerful and optimized hardware. Jesus Christ. A wise man once said, "Don't hate the player, hate the game." The fact is that when no one's making a comparable experience to what Nintendo is offering, then there's no reason to lower prices. And historically, the games Nintendo makes not just looks good and are timeless, but they also play relatively flawlessly and lack in monetization tools designed to milk customers. That's what people are paying for with Nintendo. That's why people keep coming back. There's next to no competition for these kinds of games in the AAA sphere right now. Indies are getting there, with a ton of help from the greedy and evil corporation that is Nintendo, who keeps showcasing them in their marketing, against their will, I'm sure. But as far as comparable experiences, there's Astrobot, I guess, but that's about it. The market is literally wide open, yet no one wants to fill it. Probably because no one is able to consistently deliver the kind of quality that Nintendo does, but that's just me speculating again. There is a lesson to be learned in all of this though. Hold creators accountable and verify information for yourself instead of blindly believing someone who profits off of inciting outrage, or this will keep happening more than it already is. Anyways, thank you for watching. I'm going back to working on the Skyrim video now.